Hello everyone, in this episode I'm going to be discussing HTML classes in more detail. So the HTML class attribute is used to specify a class for an individual HTML element or multiple HTML elements. Let me give you an example. Let's say we have an H1 heading that says HTML classes, and let's give it a class of my H1. Now we can go to the style sheet, and inside of here we can select the class with a dot, my H1, and curly brackets, and for example color red. So we can apply styles to a specific HTML element. We can also do this for multiple different elements. Let me give you another example. I'm gonna make a div section, and this one is going to say H2 New York. Then I'm gonna copy this a few times. Oh, whoops. There we go. And I'm gonna give all of these a class of city. Alright, there we go, there we go, and there we go. And I'm gonna also change these, let's say Los Angeles and Chicago. Alright, now if I take the class city dot city and make the background color, for example, to be tomato. What's wrong with this one? Why is it not selecting? Is this glitching out? It should be selecting this one as well. There's a mistake. Let me remove that, and there we go. And this needs to be cut here. There we go. Now it's working. So over here we have three div elements that share the same class, and they are all going to be having the same properties. I can set the display to be flex, or display to be grid 20%, 20%, 20%, or yeah, grid and grid template columns 20%, 20%, 20%. I'm gonna talk about grids in my CSS tutorial later on, but anyways, the point is that these all divs will be sharing the same class, and also with the class they will share the same CSS properties. We can also use the span element. For example, I can type in H1, this is my, then type in span, important message. Alright, let's give this a class of span 1. Alright, and then I'm gonna make a paragraph that says this is some span important space text, and let's add the same class span 1. Alright, let's go and select the span 1 and style it with, for example, background color of tomato and font size of 120%. So they will be highlighted. The span element only selects what's inside of it. So the difference between a span and a div is this. this is a div, and this is a span. So the div element is a block level element. I'm gonna show you. Let's take that and then span. There we go. So this is a div and this is a span. The div is a block level element, so it will take up the entire width of the viewport, and the span is a inline block element, meaning it will only take as much space as it needs. The class attribute can be used on any HTML elements. The class name is case sensitive, which means that if I was to, for example, spell this P like P, it's not gonna work anymore. It's gonna take this instead and use the aqua background for the span elements right over here. So yeah, you gotta make sure that you don't have, you type it the exact same way as in your HTML file. And in my CSS tutorial we will discuss a lot more about these. Okay, I'm gonna give you another example. So the classes, the class attribute can have multiple classes, so the HTML elements can belong to more than one class. So we can, for example, we can take a h2 element, and this is going to say, for example, New York, and it will have the class of text and important. Alright, then I'm gonna copy, actually no I'm not, I'm gonna make another h2 element. This is going to have Los Angeles and then h2 with Chicago. Let's add the classes of text but not the important, and over here a class of text, and there we go. Let's go to our style sheet, take the dot text, and we will be making the background color to be tomato once again, color white, and let's add some padding of 10 pixels. Now, if I want the top one to be styled differently, I can do that because it has another class as well, the important class, or this can be named whatever. Let's name it whatever. Now, if I take the dot whatever class and, for example, I am going to make the text alignment to be center, you can see that the New York, which has these two classes now, is centered. So you can also use multiple classes on HTML elements. This same also works for different HTML elements. For example, if I make a paragraph with the class text, it will have the same styles as the ones above. So yeah, even different HTML elements are good for this. If I want to, I can add the class whatever, and now the text is centered. The class attribute can also be used in JavaScript with the getElementsByClassName method, but I'm not gonna be discussing it in this episode. I'm gonna be discussing that in my JavaScript tutorial. But anyways, this is going to be it for HTML episode 17. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new, and I hope I'm gonna see you in the next episode. Happy learning everyone, and see you later. Bye bye.